in the sea, and they had the wonderful aroma as they were coming close to Puri. And then, very mystically, a carpenter appeared and he said, I will make these deities from these forms of wood. Okay, let me come back to this. So, after some time, this carpenter took some time to create the forms of the deities. And finally, it so happened that the forms of the Supreme Lord in this form, like Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, were made. And when they were made, they had to be formally installed. So to formally install, King Indradyumna requested Narada Muni to do it. And Narada Muni said, hey, this was actually, I got the inspiration to do this from Lord Brahma. Let me invite Lord Brahma. And King Indradyumna said, I too want to personally invite Lord Brahma because I did this Ashwamedha Yajna for 1,000 times. That is 1,000 Ashwamedha Yajnas. And I would like Lord Brahma to come and grace the installation of this deity. So it's not just gracing the occasion, it is also about inviting the Supreme Lord in a particular form. Now, many of us, being born in India, what we would do is we would go to the market or we would go to some nice shop, or these days it's online, buy a form of a deity and say, henceforth, I'll worship it. Example that is coming up that we hear from scriptures time and again is installation of a deity form has to be done by, typically, if very senior elevated devotees are present, it should be done by them, and we should ask for their permission and we should ask for their blessings. It is not we out of our strength that we invite the Supreme Lord into a particular form. Until the Supreme Lord is invited, that form remains as an idol. The moment the Supreme Lord is invited, that idol transforms himself into a deity, because the Supreme Lord is purchased by the love of his devotees. He is moved by the love of his devotees. Therefore, we look for some devotees who have love for Krishna in their heart, who demonstrate that love by their own actions, and we request them that you are following the tenets of the Guru Parampara. So the deity has to be always invited as per the Guru Parampara and by a person who's coming from the Guru Parampara. And what is the meaning of Guru Parampara? A parampara or a lineage of spiritual masters who can trace themselves finally back to Krishna. We ask them, who's your Guru, who's your Guru's Guru, and then finally it has to go all the way back to Krishna. So, in that sense, King Indradyumna went to Brahmaloka along with Narada Muni. And at that time, Lord Brahma was busy. He was doing the chanting and the dancing. He was chanting and dancing with the names of God, and his gatekeeper said, wait for a little while. This is his time to chant and dance with the holy names. And so they waited. At the same time, the Devatas had also come to meet Lord Brahma. So when both of them met, so first audience was given to King Indradyumna and Narada Muni after Lord Brahma finished his daily prayers. And at that time, Lord Brahma asked, why have you come? And Indradyumna Maharaj and Narada Muni said, we would like to invite you and install this deity of Lord Jagannath. A carpenter has already carved the deities. Can you please come? And at that time, Lord Brahma said, a moment here in my loka is equal to 1 year in earth. You have stayed here for several moments. And in those moments, it's almost like my day has passed by. And which means 71 Divya Yugas, that is 71 times 4 Yugas, have passed by. Many thousands of kings have already ruled earth, and they're already the place flourished, all the different places flourished, and they all went back into dust again. So but one thing, your deity form that was being carved is still present. So now if you go also, you wouldn't be able to recognize anybody because the times have changed significantly. Nonetheless, I will come. You please go to earth and make the necessary arrangements. And next to come was next to have his audience were the Devatas. And they said, Previously, we used to go to earth, we used to go to this Nilachal Kshetra, and we used to worship Neelamadhav. But now that Neelamadhav is missing, whom are we to worship? Every day in earth's time, we used to go there and worship him. But now, how do we go and whom do we worship? So then, Lord Brahma revealed, I have passed 50 years of age in my time. For the first 50 years of my time, this form of Neelamadhav was manifest. For the remaining portion of my life, he will be manifest in the form as Jagannath, the one whom you see in the picture here. And it is this form of Lord Jagannath whom you would have to worship. It is said that even today the Devatas come to Puri and they worship him. And that is why, it is also said that the Devatas themselves, when they come to earth, when they come to Puri, they see from the top that each resident of Puri, however qualified or unqualified they are, they see them as four-handed Vishnu forms. That is the benefit of even living in Puri. So this Neeladri here, the reason I brought about is the Neela Madhava of the first 50 years of Brahma's life has now come in the form of Jagannath. He is a different manifestation of Neela Madhava. And the hill that this Lord Jagannath, or the hillock that where he's staying, is called as Neelachal Hill or Neeladri. And there's this last word here, Prasida. How did it happen? How did Lord Jagannath come? Come to earth. It happened by the mercy of Narada Muni. It happened by the mercy of Lord Brahma. So finally, when Lord Brahma was ready to come and have installed it, install the deities, it so happened that the king who was ruling at that time was a person by name Gala. He heard that somebody is going to install some deities and nobody has taken permission from him. So and then there were some divine beings who were coming. So he took out his army to rush and see, are they trying to conquer his kingdom? But as he came closer and closer to Puri, and as he was seeing from afar, he saw these wonderful deities, he saw this wonderful divine denizens of the heavenly planets coming there and doing all the Abhisheka, etc. And he was overawed by all that happened. And then Indradyumna said, I recognize you are the king here, but I was the king not just of this small locality, but I was the king of the entire place some time ago. I have no interest in your kingdom, but I request you that please continue the worship of this deity. And these are the descendants of Vishwavasu. This deity is made of wood and they need to be painted. And please ensure that the descendants of Vishwavasu actually paint these deities. One Vishwavasu was such an ardent devotee of Neelamadhava, and because of that, his entire clan and generation, they are getting this opportunity to serve the Supreme Lord. Many times we think that I'm going to earn so much money, and then by earning so much money, I'll have a property, and with that, I'm going to secure the future of my children. But the real way to secure the future of children, or of our generation, next generation, and all the future generations, is to actually render service to Krishna, and Krishna will take care of the rest. Krishna will ensure that the future generations will also have a meaningful engagement. It is not that we are lacking money or we are lacking food or clothing or shelter. All that would come on its own course. We are lacking meaningful engagement in our lives. An engagement which resonates with our inner spiritual nature. And that is what Sri Jagannath and his followers come to give us. And how have they given us? Prasida, the mercy that they give comes in various forms. If you look at this slide here, this is the Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath in New York. The first time that the deity of Jagannath was installed, there was a big Rath Yatra that was performed by Indradyumna Maharaj, as well as Lord Brahma and all the other Devatas. And that has been continuing ever since Lord Jagannath has been installed in Puri. But it took a devotee of Lord Jagannath, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, to go to the west. And just like in Puri, you have 3 chariots. He instituted the same thing in the cities in the west. 3 chariots, one each for Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, and getting people to have darshan of Jagannath. Why does Jagannath move on a chariot? He moves on a chariot so that everybody can have his darshan and he can reciprocate with them. And this reciprocation has even crossed the shores of India, the seas of Atlantic and Pacific, and reached the west. Now in Europe, Africa, everywhere, he's present, giving his mercy. It is said that somebody who just has darshan of Jagannath and who pulls the chariot will have all auspiciousness coming in his life, which will finally lead him to go back to the kingdom of God. Now, is there anything else that is required to go back to the kingdom of God? Is this auspiciousness sufficient, or is there something else that is required? This is the next phase in our discussion of Rath Yatra that we are going to discuss, like the current or the contemporary thing of what all happens in Jagannath Rath Yatra, how this Jagannath Rath Yatra is actually the movement of Lord Jagannath from the temple in Puri to the temple in Gundicha, which also means something, and how we prepare ourselves for it. These items we will discuss in the next session and probably for a few sessions next week. So I'll end here. Thank you.
Prabhu, one doubt, sorry.
Oh, sure, please, by all means.
Why are those eyes so big, and what is the story behind that?
That is what we will discuss tomorrow. Okay?
Okay.
That's a pastime in itself. Okay. Do that. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.